Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant back to start off a brand new summer series.
Summer shorts.
Summer shorts. That's what Heather's called it. We need a little jingle. No, don't touch any buttons. Stop. Don't touch any buttons.
I didn't even reach for them.
Your eyes got real big.
Said a jingle.
Your eyes got real big and you reached over. Nope.
Summer shorts. Ding, 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 ding. That sounded like Gilligan's Island.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, it's gonna flag me.
Stop.
Okay.
All right. Summer shorts. Summer shorts. Okay, since this is the first episode of the Summer Shorts series, a little bit of an explanation. You want to explain? Oh, why do you look at me with big eyes? Do you want me to explain?
Yeah, sure. I'll explain. So, Summer Shorts, we decided that we were going to take some questions from you guys. And we're calling it Summer Shorts because it may not take as long to answer some of these questions, but it might. And we are taking questions from you guys, and you can submit those on our website. And when you do that, you are actually entering into a drawing for a grand prize at the end of the summer. But if we choose your question each week, we are going to send you some Redeemed Marriage swag. Yep. We have T-shirts, we have journals, we have tumblers, we have hats. And so if we choose your question to read, we will send you one of those. And then at the end of the summer, we are going to draw one name out of all of the questions and entries that have been turned in, one per person, and draw that. And we're going to go on a blind date.
Blind date.
A double date. It kind of is a blind date.
It is a blind date.
A double date. So wherever you are in the country, we are going to come to you, drive to you, fly to you, whatever, and we are going to pay for your meal at your restaurant of choice. And we'll go on a double date.
It may be a restaurant of our choice. We may do enough research to figure it out.
Yeah, but if we're going to fly all the way there,
true.
we're not taking them to McDonald's.
Oh, no.
We're going to be like, hey, y'all tell us what's good in your area.
For sure.
I think that would be part of the fun of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll just hang out with y'all for a double date and get to know you and visit, and y'all can pick our brains.
Fun. So excited.
Yeah.
So it is. We're gonna continue taking questions all summer long.
Yeah.
I say all summer long. We're gonna do this basically May, June, and July. And you may be like, oh, I don't want to hear questions for the next 3 months, but really for us, this is just a way to let us answer what the listeners want to hear,
right.
but also it gives us some great topics.
Yeah, topics that y'all want to hear about.
And it's topics that we would probably discuss or may have already discussed in some form or fashion, but we're going to talk about it based on your questions. So super excited. Look, some of these places, so much fun. I think we don't really know. We don't know where they live, but it's definitely lots of states that we've never visited.
That's what makes it fun and exciting is we've never been there.
Yeah. So anyway, you can go on to our website. There's a banner at the top that's really easy to find. I think it's called Ask. And so you're able to just go and put your question in. You can keep those coming because we read them all. And
we've gotten some really great ones so far.
Really great questions.
And some that I've gone, ooh, it's a
Got
good
to
question.
think about that one. All right,
really
so let's jump right in. And we're also going to try to do some you got to follow us on YouTube. If you don't already do that, follow us on YouTube. We did a little video the other day that just kind of a few of our so where some of the questions were coming from. I thought that was kind of cool because there were some from other countries.
Yeah.
So we kind of threw those out there.
Yeah.
That was fun. All right. So you want to read it for us?
Our question today is from Maryland. So if you're a Maryland listener, then this might be your question. And I'm just going to read the whole thing. It kind of has a couple parts, but I'll read the whole thing and then we'll address it.
That's good.
Okay. The question from Maryland says,
the person's name is not Maryland.
No, we're not telling the person.
I know, but you said the question from Maryland is, and so I think our listeners got that. The state of Maryland.
Okay. The
no name
person
name.
is anonymous. Okay. I mean, we know who it is, but okay, here we go. How does the betrayed deal with and process memories? How do you look at any of the past years during or before the affair? For example, I just saw your wedding picture posted and I struggle with viewing mine as happy. Also, my husband's affair lasted about 5 years, so I have so many memories to quote unquote file in a new and horrible light. I loved how it was phrased as a file cabinet, getting the files tossed and put back together. So I know you sort of answered those, but I feel like I still just don't know.
Great question from Maryland.
Yes.
Not the person,
Right.
Maryland, the state. Okay, so yeah, this was actually a really, really good question. So a couple of things to just for backstory. First of all, we posted a picture of our wedding this week. I mean, a wedding picture because I was actually over at your parents' house doing something. And I was just walking down the hall and all of our pictures, your sister's wedding pictures up there, our wedding picture. And I was like, oh, because we don't have, obviously that's not hanging around in our house. So I just snapped a picture of it. And I put it on social media and just was like, hey, look at these two lovebirds.
Yeah.
And thank you all for wishing us a happy anniversary. However, it was not our anniversary. That will be coming in July, so you can wish us happy anniversary again.
A real anniversary.
But that's where this is stemming from. So some of you probably saw our picture on social media this week. So this listener saw that and was like, ooh, what happens when you think back on all those? Right. So they also mentioned the filing cabinet, and that's something that we've talked about on here before because a couple that we were doing marriage coaching for, they sent us a video that was very helpful to them. It was about a 6-minute video that just kind of explained how the brain works, and when there's been betrayal, it's almost like a filing cabinet. And your brain has all of these files that are just sort of, they're in order because you understand the past, you understand, up to the present, and then it makes your future safe because you have everything in order. But when there's been a betrayal and there's some mistrust and broken trust, then it's like that filing cabinet just kind of get all the files from that period just get chunked into the air.
Right.
And so it's like you're just desperately trying to put them back together and put them in order.
Make sense of it.
Yep. And it's impossible to completely do that. Right. So, but I love this question because, and I guess for, it is talking, or it is both of us that can answer this question, but I think a lot of it is for me as the betrayed spouse, and what does that feel like, and how do I deal with that? And so I'm just going to tell you that has always been a struggle, but mine fortunately was a small window of time. So because of your unfaithfulness lasting about 3 months, then it's a pretty small window of time. So I kind of have this
versus what this listener is asking of 5 years.
That's right.
And we hear them all. I mean, we hear week-long infidelity, and we hear years and years of infidelity. And I think that no matter if it's a week or years, that trust is broken and the filing cabinet gets dumped.
Right.
But there is something to be said about how long it takes to get that feeling safe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate you bringing that up because it's not like one person's pain is more or less because their spouse's infidelity lasted a shorter amount of time. I mean, that just, there's there's obviously other dynamics that go into that, which cause some other complications and things like that. But, I'm just comparing, I didn't have a 5-year time period. But I will say that even to this day, and we've mentioned this before, probably on here, we talk about it a lot in our coaching, but Heather loves Time Hop. And that's one of those apps, I think, on your phone that like pulls up pictures from that particular day, and it can span years and years. And she'll see pictures and she'll send them to our family. And, it'll be pictures of the kids or whatever. And every single time, I look immediately at the date. And it just, because for me, I'm trying to process, wait, was that during that time frame? And even not even just that time frame, but just even leading up to that, it's just there's just pain when you think through all that. And so one of the things that I've really had to come to grips with is I can't, it's not a good thing or a healthy thing to try to wipe away those memories or to try to claim all of those memories as bad memories. Because if I do that, then I'm taking away memories of my children that were real memories and good memories. I'm taking away things even with us that I don't want to think of them as bad memories. Now, sometimes we do refer to our life as pre-affair and post-affair. And it's just easier for us to kind of compartmentalize things that way because, pre-affair, we were very different than we are today.
Right.
And so, the last 13 years, we have created this new marriage. And so our marriage is so completely different than it was pre-affair. But I also believe that if your spouse has chosen to stay with you and and you are fighting for your marriage and your spouse is repentant, I believe that your spouse still loved you during that time. Now, I don't know everybody's story. But for me, I believe that as you were making those terrible decisions and those devastating choices, I believe that you still loved me. And so both of those things can be true at the same time. Although for the betrayed spouse, it's really, really hard to believe that. Because you just constantly are questioning, well, then how could you have done that?
Right.
But
if you loved me, how could you have done that to
right,
me?
Right. But if you think, just kind of play this out in your mind and you go, well, she or he didn't love me during that time. Well, they loved you before that, didn't love you during that time, and now love you again. I just feel like sin can get into a relationship. Sin can just overtake someone's life to where they're just completely blinded by truth.
Right.
And so, is that making sense?
Yeah, it does. And it actually makes sense because we hear people that say, oh, I was falling in love with somebody else during that time, or I thought that I loved that person. That's why I went and was unfaithful with them or had an affair, whatever, however you want to say it. It's like, I thought, but that wasn't truth. Like that was just a lie of the enemy of what you were thinking was true.
Right. Because the enemy's trying to convince you that that's the right thing and that's truth. And the truth is that you made a covenant with your spouse before God. And when you did that, you were in love with your spouse and you made that commitment. And then as sin creeps in and it's just like I always think back to Adam and Eve, and, I believe that Eve loved God the entire time. And Eve started questioning God.
And thought she knew better than God.
That's right. But that didn't mean that she fell out of love with God.
Right. She just got really selfish.
That's right.
And her eyes were on her, and how could my life be better if I did it this way?
Exactly.
Choosing your own way.
Yeah. So I think that if you can somehow almost separate a little bit the sin from what was going on during that time period, and it's something that I'm just saying it is something that you have to work hard at, and it's also very normal, and I would even say it's okay for you to. I mean, it's just our nature. When you see something from that time frame, you're just going to automatically go, wait a second, when was that? But you can't chase it down. Like, it can't become a trigger that then begins to drown you.
Right. Well, and not only that, but you can't doubt what was happening in your life, especially if it's with children or, I look back at pictures even in that 3-month span with one of the boys that I'm like, my love for them never changed. I was the mom, a good mom to them, even though I was making poor decisions. And when it came to my relationship with you. And so even like, I think about this listener who asked this question, looking back on their wedding picture, and I'm like, that was true. Like that, it doesn't change what your husband did or what your spouse did to you during that time, doesn't change the fact that on your wedding day, you were in love and had your whole life ahead of you. It's just that in decisions that were made along the way, gradual decisions that were made along the way, it messed that part up, but it doesn't change the rest of your story.
Yeah, and I also think that when those pictures and things like that, when they pop up and they trigger some sort of reaction inside of you and some sort of emotion, that if you can learn over time to instead of taking it down this woe is me, this pain, it then becomes, can you change it to, God, thank you that we're redeemed. Thank you that we are not where we were, and thank you for where we are now. And then as you just see this marriage journey, I mean, for us, it's 28 years, fixing to be 28 years. So as you just see this big overall marriage journey, there was the wonderful honeymoon. And then about halfway through at this point was the devastation and the betrayal and the unfaithfulness. And then here we are, the second half, and what God's done for us. And then it just becomes this big journey of wonderful memories and some really, really hard, painful memories. But here we are, almost 30 years into this thing, and we're together and we're journeying through this life together. And we can look back on that as just being hard, but life-changing and changing for our marriage.
Yeah. And, the listener, I don't even know if it's a male or female. That's why I keep saying she, he, I don't know who it was, but they.
I think they might have, did they say husband?
I don't, yeah.
My husband's affair lasted 5 years.
She, so she's trying to make sense of that filing cabinet now and looking back on that. And then also, like, I think, you said at the beginning that part of it is that when you have those files lined up, and this is what that video talked about, how it made you feel safe. And then when everything got thrown up in the air and it tossed around and there's confusion, there's no way to go back and put those files back in order. And so all of a sudden you feel very unsafe. And for me, I see our new filing cabinet or the files that came after they got tossed and into the air and confused. And as we rebuild that together, we become safe for each other again. I become a safe place for you again. And it's not that you had to go back and fix all of that, because that's impossible. It's that as we step forward and build our new life together on a foundation of truth and complete honesty and chasing after the Lord with everything we have and asking God to bless that and honor that, then the new filing cabinet, the new files become super, super, super safe. And those that are out of order become a lot less painful.
I believe that while you were talking, I got a word from the Holy Spirit.
Go.
I just got this incredible picture. I got this incredible picture of how I have been able to separate and kind of compartmentalize this using the filing cabinet illustration. So instead of having one filing cabinet for my life, I feel like I have this filing cabinet that was pre-infidelity. And all of those files are pretty much in good order up to a certain point. And then it all just kind of gets a little, I don't really understand it all. And so I don't have this organized file for this period. But then I have this post, and it's very organized, obviously, and I understand it, and I feel safe now. But that space during the infidelity, it's almost like that whole file, it's almost like a junk drawer. Everybody's got a junk drawer, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and inside that junk drawer, there's some good stuff, but you have to find it. You have to open the junk drawer, and you have to dig around inside of it. That's what I was looking for. I remember I needed that. I figured it was there, and I needed that. But then there's also just some crap that you just kind of need to go through from time to time and throw out so that you just don't ever really deal with it. You don't ever have to see it again because you throw it away because you're like, why would I ever need this or use this? But I just feel like that period, it's just like this junk drawer that even when you clean out a junk drawer, it never really makes a lot of sense. It's just there ain't nowhere else to put this stuff, so that's where it's going to go. And I just feel like that's kind of what that period of time has become, is just this junk drawer that I'm able to go in and pull out good memories, but it still just doesn't it's just chaos. There's no organization to it, and I've had to kind of accept that, just like you accept the chaos of a junk drawer. It serves a purpose. It's there. It's got good stuff. It's got some stuff that you need to chunk. But at the end of the day, you're never going to organize that thing. So
yeah, that's a good word. And we always talk about this in relation to you, and I'll be real honest, that part of my drawer is chaos too, because I was hiding things and lying about things and saying I was one place and I was another. I mean, so it doesn't make sense in my head either, because there was so much chaos for me. It's not like I was living in truth and living in organization. It was just all over the place. And so many lies, like couldn't remember where I said I was going to be when. And I mean, just it was chaos. And so for me, it's not something I want to go back and organize. And it's also full of lots and lots of pain and shame and embarrassment. And so when there's, let's dig in and try to figure it out, it's not just painful for you, it's painful for me as well. But then, like, I've been working on our youngest, he's fixing to graduate from high school, and we've been working on pulling pictures and things like that to have at his party. And he was in kindergarten when this happened, or it's the summer before he started kindergarten, and then everything came out right at the beginning of school. And, even like the picture of him with his kindergarten teacher, it's like, I was there, I was present, and I remember it, but it's not like I look back on that and think about us. I think about him and the moment that he started kindergarten, and I'm able to pull that part out of it, but then I don't it's not surrounded by the security of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's moments in there, because I'm trying to think about this sweet lady who this was 5 years of her life. It's much easier for us to think about that 3 months and how weird that was. But it's 5 years. I mean, there's major events happening in those 5 years. And you don't have to detach yourself from those life events that were happening, because they were real and they were true. And it was a big day, his first day of kindergarten. And I'm able to celebrate that with him and see that, and, see us hugging. I mean, me and him hugging. But then it's not surrounded by warm fuzzies because of what we were going through. So I just think it's real important and that's just what you're talking about. I mean, I spent probably 2 minutes yesterday looking for a freaking paper clip in the junk drawer. I knew it was there. We have them.
Not very many. I've tried to find them too.
And I'm like, I know there's a paper clip here.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing that's in the drawer, but I had to dig through some of the junk to find it.
Well, I think as you grow together post-betrayal, and this doesn't have to be infidelity. This trauma. Question can just deal with any kind of trauma and pain. But I think that as you grow and mature, one of the things that happens is the betrayed spouse begins to feel, yes, I was the one that was betrayed and hurt, but there was hurt and there was not betrayal. There was hurt for you, a lot of pain. And I can imagine that when you see those pictures and things, I mean, you look different. I mean, obviously you look different because it was 13 years ago, but you just don't.
Oh, come on.
You just don't look like the same person.
Sure.
And like stuff was going on that was causing you to not. I mean, the way, even the way you dressed and the way that you looked, and and I would imagine when you look at that, like that brings up shame,
Sure
and like
does.
that's not something that you're proud of. So it's not like you're enjoying revisiting that, but just like you said, you have to remove yourself from that and what we were going through, and remember what's the truth. And the truth is, our kid went to kindergarten and we were both there for it.
That's right. And it was a joyful time for him.
Yep.
And
we
for
don't,
us.
and we don't
want to
rob. We don't want to
No.
rob them of that,
No.
or us
No.
of that.
That's right.
So,
That's right. That's right.
So I hope that helps. I know. Hey, our summer shorts. Look at that. Those of you who love the fact that we can talk for a long time, you'll be happy to know that the first summer shorts was the same amount of time as all of our other ones. So.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, that was a good question. So thanks for asking.
Yeah.
All right. Get your questions in. We want you to enter the contest. So please do that. And we will look forward to seeing you guys next time.